from the Collin Studio web interface.
You don't say. Let's go live on YouTube. So you guys know the drill. If you want to do bingo today, you know how to get it. Like I said, you can play bingo on your own. Totally fine. This would just be a way to like... And then what I think we're going to do is I may create... Oh, see? Headphones already dying. Did you see how fucking quick that was? These headphones are functionally unusable if they die that quickly. So I need new ones. Hey, Pillow, you know how Discord works pretty well, right? Also, feel free to respond to me, Pillow, in the call screener chat. Okay, so if I make you, since I'm already going to make you a mod on the Discord, if I give you admin status, can you create a public channel that anyone can use that we can just use for people to post bingo cards so that even if they're not verified in the Discord, they can still upload their bingo wins? Is that something you can do? Yes. Okay, cool. Let me make you let me add you as an admin in the Discord right now. Ain't no loving my man. Can you hear me, baby? Ain't no loving my man. Shoo wop, shoo wop. Okay, Pillow, you should be good. As long as you don't get a call, which I don't see any right now, feel free if you can go make that. So that way people have a way to post their bingo wins. John Lee, it's your birthday right now? Here you go. This is for you. This is for you. Happy birthday. You could be a birthday baddie too. A very happy baddie birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy day of your birth. Welcome. We're here to debate. Pick a motherfucking topic, boy. Hey, thanks for following me over on Twitch. Why can't I hear my alerts? It's kind of weird. Can't believe Jovan forgot Static Shock. What?
Donated $114.84. Bingo time.
That was crazy, Pumpkin. Although I don't think that got us there because Canada money is less expensive than America money. Hold on, let me go take a look. Because it converts. I'll probably just count it. Yeah, it's $4 off. Yeah, that's fine. I'll just count it. Guess we're doing bingo at the end of stream. Shit. Y'all earned yourself a bingo. Hey, I'm bingo in here. Got a bingo. Who else is but a bingo? Okay, hold on. Let me, how do I want to, let's try it, everyone. Bingo-tastic. Okay. So then what we'll do is, because you guys hit that, if we hit the next goal, that'll be 2 bingo winners. We'll do 2 bingo winners if you can hit the next goal. So I will allow 2 winners for the bingo game. But you, Twitch, you already won bingo. So you're getting a bingo none either way. Ryan, thank you for the Venmos and helping out my Canadian brothers. Thank you so much, Ryan. Bingo, more like bingo. Okay. Okay, so Pillow is going to make... Pillow, I don't know where you want to put it. Probably in updates, I guess. Put it in updates. But Pillow is going to make... So the server is locked. You can only join my server if you're a sub on Twitch or a YouTube member. That's the only way to join the server because I've been doxxed and stuff, so I keep the server locked up. So Pillow's going to make a section where even if you're not joined, like not verified in the server, you can still go into the server and see the bingo posts part, and then you can post your bingo wins when we start playing bingo. Or not bingo, it's called Jovango. Jovango? Jovango. As someone dating a trans person, tokenizing, gender affirming care for anyone under 16 is inappropriate because they lack the capacity to really understand the choice and are highly likely to choose trans as rather than actually being in the wrong body. You should probably break up with that person. If you're dating a trans person, I would break up with them because you don't understand anything they're going through. And you have no clue what being trans means. Sometimes, Melia, sometimes the lives don't go through because of something that maybe have been said on the live or shown on the live. Sometimes it's just like, so if you don't see a live uploaded, just assume something happened on that live that like I'm not allowing it to be posted.
Yeah.
Fuzzy, we may actually be still looking for like YouTube mods. So if send me a message on Discord or not on Discord on Instagram, Fuzzy, and we'll talk about it because I am probably still looking for mods on Discord. Jesse, thanks so much for the Cash App, friend. Thank you, Jesse. You actually put us to 204. Will we get 2 bingo prizes this day? I see you're just a rage baiter and not an actual discussion channel. I have 1,000 videos of me discussing these topics. So sure, I've done this for 5 years because I'm just a rage baiter. Makes total sense. I sit here for hours a day because that's how much I like rage bait. Yeah. Makes total sense. Not like there's not like a literal phone number right there for you to call. Also, she told me this herself, so you're tokenizing. Great. Well, like I said originally, trans people are not a monolith. Just because one trans person says something doesn't mean that that's like now rules for every trans person. What do you prefer, YouTube member or Twitch member? It's up to you. It's up to what you want to get. A Twitch sub... I got rid of Twitch ads. So I don't give you guys ads on Twitch anymore because I hit a threshold where like, why give you ads on Twitch? I make enough on YouTube that I don't need ads here. So if you want Twitch subs to be able to access, what's the word I'm looking for? To be able to access, like Twitch replays, Twitch. If you want access to like early videos, your name in the credits, things like that, YouTube membership. Both do the same thing. Do whatever one you want. Both get you access to the Discord, so I'm not really worried about that. Salami Dave. Actually, that's going to be the January 1st video. I already got them ready to go. They just need to thumbnail them and everything. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post the entire 80-minute conversation as its own thing, and then that separate 20 minutes of just me describing fascism and how MAGA is literally fascist, that will be its own separate video for people who just want that part. Oh, think about this when you're deciding Twitch versus YouTube too. Which chat do you want to engage with the most? Sending love from Wales. Hi, Wales. No problem, Piglet. I will respond to you tonight. Just like hit me up if I forget. But usually I don't check my Instagram DMs throughout the day, so I'll look at it tonight and then we'll work something out for you. You are the fascists, not MAGA. Yes, because fascists want everyone to have food, water, and healthcare. And housing. That's totally a fascist ideology. Yeah. Woo. I'm going to be honest. If fascists came up to me, if somebody said, hey, I'm a fascist and I want to implement fascist rule. And I go, well, what are you doing? And they go, yeah, I want to make sure everybody has access to food, water, shelter, healthcare, adequate living conditions. I want to make sure that everybody is paid properly and nobody is exploited via their work. If a fascist told me they want to do all of these and they had a concrete plan to implement all of these, I'd be like, all right, cool. Okay, I guess we go on fascists now. But fascists don't want to do that. We haven't gotten any debates yet. So once somebody calls in, I'm the leader of Trantifa. That's so funny. Be gay, do crime. There is nothing fascist about Republicans except that they meet all 14 characteristics of fascism. That video will drop in 2 days. Go and watch it. I don't know what fascism is. Who's Dr. Lawrence Britt? Here's a better question. Who's Mussolini? Who's Hitler? Who's Franco? Do you know who these people are? Have you studied like actual fascism? I doubt it. The fact that you say, right now I'm just repeating really stupid comments and I'm going to tell you why they're stupid. The fact that you have to say trans women are women means they aren't women. Otherwise, you'd say women are women. Hey, dingo. Hey, dingo who got your baby eaten. Trans is an adjective. You know that sometimes like when we say black women or tall women, I shouldn't have to teach you how adjectives work. That's just like, I fear that's basic fucking grammar. God, I needed this lunch. I have not eaten yet today. That's the one thing. When you're on the meds I'm on, you just don't want to eat. It's kind of crazy. I've gone like whole days recently where I've just had nothing to eat. And my mom's like, hey, are you hungry? I'm like, no. I'm chilling, dog. I want to add religion back to the list. Sorry, people who hate that topic, but I don't. And I miss it. So sorry. It's coming back. Hello? What the fuck? Oh, something's happening here. That's what happened. Okay. Sorry to everybody who hates that topic, but I love that topic, so. Sorry. I personally love that no Christian has read their goddamn book. For a group of people who decry context constantly, they sure don't know fucking context if it bit them in the ass. Someone said, oh no, pussycat ears, they, them at it again. Have I ever fucking said I'm a they, them, homie? My guy, please stop projecting onto me. Please don't project onto me. I know you are probably non-binary, and that's okay. It's okay to be. Don't do the projection. The cat ears be triggering people, dog. You know why? Because conservatives don't like fun. They don't like fun. Okay. There we go. There's lunch. Okay. We got a call coming in. Pillow, let me know if you're labeling the calls by number, just so I know. First up on the docket, let's bring in our first caller. Caller number 1. Welcome to the stream, caller number 1. Are you here to debate?
Hey, how you doing, man? Yup.
Okay, can I get your name, age, and pronouns, please?
My name is Mike, Mike. I'm 23 years old, I live in New York, and my pronouns are he, him.
Okay, Mike, what topic on the board are you calling to debate about, Mike?
Debate topic number 1.
Okay, number 1, trans men and women are men and women. Mike, do you disagree that trans men and women are men and women?
The statement, yes, I do. I do disagree.
Okay, why?
I believe it is unfortunately a mental disorder. I believe it is gender dysphoria. I believe we need to love them, but my debate topic is on the fact that they are not men.
Okay, I worry, Mike, that you don't know what gender dysphoria is based on what you just said. So let's dive into that really quickly to make sure. Can you just tell me what gender dysphoria is?
People who believe they are the different gender.
Okay, no. So that would be incorrect. Per the APA, the American Psychological Association, the people that write the book on these sort of things. Gender dysphoria is just the immense feeling of stress when your physical representation of your sex or your phenotypic sex traits do not align with your internal gender identity. So this can not only express itself in trans people, but it can and does express itself in cisgender people as well. I'm saying
that it is that. You're saying that it's the stress in between your own sex and gender. That's what I'm saying.
Mike, hold on.
Okay, sorry.
What you said was that it's not trans isn't real. It's just gender dysphoria. But this would be incorrect because people who are not trans can also have gender dysphoria. It oftentimes shows itself in an elderly cisgender women because their bodies start changing. They start getting more hair in places they didn't have before. And this can start to express itself via gender dysphoria for them. It can show itself in cisgender men who may have gynecomastia or micropenises, right? Their bodies do not look like typical male bodies, and so they have gender dysphoria. So now that we know, and I would hope you agree based on what I just described, that gender dysphoria and being trans are two different things, I'd like you to restate your argument now under this understanding.
Okay, so what I would need in order to fully accept your... So what is a trans person then?
A transgender person is somebody who whose gender identity does not align with the physical representation of their sex.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
or
what
just
is
their
gender?
sex in general. Just their sex in general. Gender is a social and cultural mix of traits, behaviors, attributes that we place upon the sexes for categorization purposes.
Oh, so gender's, the idea of gender is built off of sex?
Yeah, 100%. Always has been.
Okay, so what would, for example, a woman be?
A woman would be an
The
adult
gender
human
of woman,
who's...
not a sex. The gender.
Yes, a woman would be an adult human whose gender identity aligns with their social schema on the female sex.
Yeah. Sub on Twitch. Nice.
So someone who, what would they do?
What do you mean, what would they do? They don't have to do anything.
Like, so it's nothing? Is it based in reality or no?
Like almost everything is based in some semblance of reality. I don't understand what you're asking.
No, so I'm saying, so you're saying based off of the sex characteristics, a gender would be how you express yourself in the day-to-day world.
It is, a woman is somebody whose gender identity, so their internal perception of their sex and the way that sex orients in their body, aligns with their personal schema. Schema would be the way that their brain classifies information. So it would be their personal subjective classification of the female sex and whether or not their gender identity aligns with that personal classification.
Mm-hmm. So could anybody be a woman? Gender to gender?
Yeah, anybody can be a woman. Not everybody is a woman.
Everyone can be. So it's a mindset?
Well, gender is an identity. Mindset is an interesting way to phrase it, but it's an identity.
Yeah.
Identities are internal things. They're internal critiques of the self. So identities only exist in the mind. Identities don't exist. Identities are not mind independent. They're 100% mind dependent.
Mm-hmm. No, that's what I'm basically struggling with, the whole idea of if gender is anything or not. Because if anybody and everybody could or is something, then what's the function?
Well, let me break it down for you.
Gender.
Let me break it down for you like this. Are emotions real? Do people really feel emotions?
Do people really feel emotions? Yes, I would say so.
So emotions are something subjective. They're tied to your own personal experiences and how you are interpreting different experiences happening to yourself, right? We don't say emotions are not invalid or that emotions aren't real just because they're a subjective thing. It would be the same with woman and the same with other gender categories. Just because these things take place subjectively in the mind doesn't make them any less real than if you told me you were in love with someone. I wouldn't go, no, you're not, because it's not some real tangible thing, right? Love is a subjective thing.
So are you saying it's the same thing, or you're comparing
I'm comparing. They aren't like, they're not one-to-one aligned, but I'm comparing two internal experiences. One being the way you internally experience gender, the other being the way you internally experience emotions.
Mm-hmm. Okay, no, yeah, listen, because I'd want to agree with you on that, but meaning, for sure, everybody has emotions, and a man could be happy, a woman could be happy, anybody could be happy, no matter what they are. So why, though, is gender this whole new, or not new thing, but this whole separate identity. Because you're known as a happy guy, a funny guy, an interesting guy. I mean, that isn't an emotion, but happy, sad, angry. So that's an emotion. Why would you say gender now is this whole crazy, huge situation for a new type of emotion?
I don't. Gender's not an emotion. It's an identity. Identities and emotions are two different things.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but anybody could be a woman if
their gender identity aligns with their schema on the female sex, they can be classified as a woman. If it doesn't, then they wouldn't.
So if it doesn't align, but it's all of you decide if it aligns or not.
Your brain subconsciously does that. You don't really have any like concrete control over the subconscious like that, you know? Just
right.
like,
but I mean, there's no way for like a doctor to tell me if I am right or wrong. Or
when doctors diagnose people with, for instance, gender dysphoria, or when counselors work with children and stuff, they don't make, or they shouldn't make declarations for that person. They can diagnose with gender dysphoria. That can be sort of a declaration. But like if a kid comes in for counseling or an adult comes in for counseling and they're not too sure of their gender identity, what the WPATH standard for care is to allow this person, for the counselor to allow the patient to guide them and the counselor to guide the patient to their own conclusion, not for them to make a conclusion. We don't want to tell somebody that they're trans, right? Because we don't know 100% what a person is experiencing. We can only be told what a person is experiencing. So what we want to do is we want to find out, based on how that person is experiencing life, how they're doing all of these things, what they feel, and go from there. Some people may come out that they're trans women. Some people, they may actually, in talking about it, find that they're actually non-binary. Some may find that they're gender non-conforming. Some may find that they're actually cisgender. Like who knows what will happen, but we want to give people the space for them to be able to figure it out for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I get your point on that. So I guess a counterpoint just to keep the debate going. Now we're seeing a lot of crime, a lot of self-harm. Would you say that's because it's a heavy burden on the brain, or would you like to say it's more because of, let's just say, the right-wing politics?
Every causality study that we have for like the comorbidities that transgender people face. So all causality shows that it's because of societal and familial stigmatization. So the reason why like depression rates are high, the reason why in the trans community we may see elevated suicidality, this is because they aren't being supported. And what we see is when they are being supported, whether that is through gender affirming care, either socially, medically, or what have you, we see those numbers drop. Specifically, suicidality has like a drop of like 70%. So
70%?
Yeah. Yeah, I can cite the specific study if you want to.
If I could check up some of these stats just to get my head better, because I was debating someone over Saturday. He's much more pro. I'm trying to figure out the whole idea. I was letting him know that there's a very high self-harm rate, and now in the past couple of weeks he had a bunch of shootings and stuff like that. So I was explaining to him more that I see it more as basically back to a mental illness that we need to help people.
We haven't seen shootings by trans people, right? There've only been like 4 shootings in like the last 5 years done by a trans person. If that, and some of those are going to be people who are non-binary who may not identify as trans. Still, it's dependent on on like what they identify as. So like, how can we like?
Right,
this isn't even.
Let me rephrase. Yeah, I guess LGBT community.
It's still, that number is still
right,
super
then
low.
It's pretty separate.
Yeah, but even then, that number is still super low.
Those shootings that I've been seeing, at least over the past, even couple months, the past 2 months.
Which ones?
Majority.
Which ones?
Colorado Springs.
The Colorado Springs one?
The nightclub.
Hold on. That was an anti-LGBTQ shooting. That was somebody who went in who didn't like the LGBTQ. That wasn't anybody who was a part of the LGBT.
He identified with the community.
No, he didn't.
Okay, unless I'm seeing it. Unless I heard this whole story
Let
wrong,
me double
but,
check. I was pretty sure it was just a cisgender white dude who was, as far as I was aware, was a straight dude. Let me double check. But I was pretty sure he was like a straight white guy. Shooter was identified as Anderson Lee Aldrich, then 22-year-old resident of Colorado Springs. Aldrich was born grew up in Texas, is a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Furniture, he had been involved in search for at least a decade. Was target of bullying online. Involved. Well, people made homophobic taunts at him in high school. That isn't saying that he's gay. We'll have to keep looking. Like people made homophobic jokes about me in high school. I mean, I was gay.
No, okay, no. So maybe that's what I could be mixing it up.
That might be it. I mean, let me. Attorneys have said in court documents that the client identifies as non-binary. Okay, so his attorney said he was non-binary. So, yeah. I wouldn't say though that this is like
he's like one of the crazy red, like meaning someone who fully lived it. You're just saying he kind of fell into the groove.
Well, I don't know. I don't know enough about his life to know how much he engaged in his identity, or they engaged in their identity in that way if they were non-binary. But Aldrich. Well, hold on. Aldrich never mentioned being non-binary prior to the shooting and was referred to with masculine pronouns by family members. Police testified they found rainbow-colored shooting targets in Aldrich's home. Experts in online extremism have voiced the possibility that Aldrich proclaimed self-identification could be disingenuous, while the Center for Countering Digital Hate acknowledges the suspect's past actions and impact on the LGBT community. I guess we don't know. Their attorneys said in court documents that they identified as non-binary. They never made any declaration themselves. They never identified at it. It kind of seems... somebody in chat just said it. It kind of seems like they were trying to avoid a hate crime charge. That's what it seems. Because, it wouldn't be considered a hate crime if they're a part of the group. So,
Mm-hmm. Okay, right. No, he I have first, but then we had, this was a year back, but back in Tennessee, in Nashville.
What?
Okay, maybe the news is, they love to, what's it called, glorify certain ones just to get a rhetoric going. But I personally have been saying, 2 weeks ago we had three school shootings in 1 week. One was in, where was it, Massachusetts?
Yeah, one of them was an anti-Semitic Nazi. Like the problem is when we look at the violence that goes on, like especially like gun violence, when we're looking at like gun violence that is caused by political ideology, right? So I don't just mean like gun violence that is like I shot someone because they like slept with my wife or something, right? When we're looking at politically motivated gun violence, it's mostly done by right-leaning ideologies.
What would you feel about the last assassination 2 weeks ago? Would you say that was a right-leaning, left-leaning, mid? What do you say?
I don't know what it was, and I won't until we get personally, I need the shooter's confession to tell me. There's too much that happened where I don't really trust what the FBI is saying right now. Things that aren't really adding up. So until I get direct word of mouth from either the shooter or a written manifesto or something like that, I'm not really trusting the FBI on this one. Just seems some things that seem wishy-washy,
Okay, no, that's fair. But as me personally, who would lean right on I would say a majority of topics, right when the shooting happened, I saw some news stations oh, maybe a fan. So that I was like, okay, you're lying to yourself. If someone went and shot up a trans club, instantly I'd be okay, a right-wing hater. Like, obviously we need the FBI to confirm, but that would be the first thing that comes to my head, right?
It can go one of two ways. He could
Yeah.
absolutely be a left-wing extremist. He could absolutely be a right-wing extremist. I mean, Nick Fuentes,
Do you think so or no?
couple of days before Charlie Kirk got killed, Nick Fuentes went on a giant anti-Charlie Kirk rant, talking about how bad Charlie Kirk is for the country. Charlie Kirk is simping for Israel, all of these things. It could be somebody, it could be like, listen, I'm not going to say that it's not most likely that the shooter might have been left leaning, right? It doesn't mean the shooter was trans. It doesn't mean the shooter had anything to do with like that community, like, right? But it until we have a confirmation, I don't see the point in speculating, right? I don't really care what like
I mean,
family
our
and friends
speculations wouldn't help, but I think our brains go to certain points, right? Which
well,
is
yeah,
interesting.
our brains are always going to try to fill in details. I just try not to because I don't see the utility in it.
Okay, no, that's definitely that would definitely be a fair thing. You know, don't want to sit and grind your head on something that the cops should get out in a hopefully in the next couple weeks, get the thing figured out.
Exactly.
Okay, man, listen, you know, I just wanted to chill with you on that, get some of your opinions.
So
I'll
just really
rethink some of mine.
quickly, based on our before conversation, can you now agree with me that trans women are women?
So you explained to me a deeper meaning of what you saw gender as, and to see it more in that sense, like as you compared it to an emotion, which I'll sit down and I'll try to think about. Currently, still, you know, because a 10-minute phone call wouldn't flip my mind in a second. But
well, here's what I want you to do. Here's what I want you to do. I'm gonna post this call in probably like 2 or 3 days. Right? Go back and listen to it because I think, Mike, I think you're there. You're just having some trouble getting over some just ingrained beliefs that you have. Re-listen to the call and see if possibly you're, after a couple days sitting on it, if you can go, okay, you know what? I thought about this. I do think that gender works is more of this socially internal concept than it is this external classification, and just see how that sits with you.
Sure, 100%. You know, always got to talk to people, always got to state your opinions, see if other people's opinions make more sense in your head. I think that's extremely beneficial for everybody. Because listen, some people, you get them to change their minds, and sometimes they'll speak to you. You'll be like, oh shit, bro, their opinion makes more sense than mine. So thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for calling in.
Have a great day, bro.
You too.
Peace.
So I know some people in chat probably want me to go a little harder against people like Mike, right? But I've gotten really good at being able to tell people I think have the capacity for change. Not even just because if I thought Mike could never change his mind and he brought up the shooters, I probably would have gone a little more hard at that. But he seemed receptive and he seemed open. So I want to hold the door open for people like that, because every new person that is no longer on the anti-trans side is a good thing. You know, even if they're brand new baby-faced trans supporters and they still need those little pushes, I think that's important. Trust me, I know when somebody calls in and I can tell their mind is never going to change. I may go attack a little harder, but he seemed generally receptive. So. Okay, we're going to bring in the next caller. Next up, we got caller number 2 coming on the line. Hello, are you here to debate?
Hi, yes, I am.
Okay, can I get your name, age, and pronouns, please?
Yes, Dwayne, 37, he, him.
Okay.
Not a big fan of the pronoun stuff, but that's not my topic for today.
Okay. Well, Dwayne, what topic are you calling to debate about?
The Christian God is evil and not real.
Okay. Dwayne, are you a Christian? And if so, what denomination are you currently?
I am a Christian, non-denominational. I think I kind of fall under like a category of like Christian rationalist. I was raised Catholic, though I kind of turned away for a while. And I think Jordan Peterson kind of helped me a lot in putting things in more like concrete. I like how he talks about things in biological terms. And so it kind of helped me understand a lot of the philosophy and also concrete aspects to it. And then, that kind of led me to thinking more about whether or not God is actually real outside of like a philosophical framework.
Okay. Sure, no problem. Just some things to get out of the way before we start the conversation. Do you agree that the God of the Christian Bible, do you believe that the Christian Bible in its entirety is a faithful representation of God and God's will?
Yes, I don't necessarily believe in Bible inerrancy, but I do believe that the Bible is the word of God, divinely inspired, written by man.
Okay, so if the Bible gives a doctrine in the form of rules and laws that God says what is or is not moral, you would say that these are things that would be true, not necessarily a lot of the other things, but like what God's will is essentially per the Bible would be.
I would say yes.
Okay, great. Do you also believe that God is all-knowing, all-powerful, all-seeing, and all-good?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. Great. So then I'll just give you my interpretation. I believe that God cannot be a good being. I believe God has caused too much untold suffering. I believe that when we look at the way God has engaged with humanity from our inception, he doesn't really want us to prosper. He wants us to suffer, and he allows for generally evil things to happen. I think a God that allows for evil things to happen, that's not a God that I would say is all good.
That makes sense. I actually was talking to my wife about this last night.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this idea that there is good and evil in the world. And I was thinking about Buddhism and how it kind of strives for this kind of centeredness. You don't want to be, too much on any end,
Mm-hmm.
You're just going for that kind of, no emotion kind of thing. And, I think that that's a nice thing, but it kind of illustrated to me that, if you don't have evil, you can't have good. If you don't have sadness, right, you can't have happiness, because that's how we experience it. And I guess in theory, God could have created the world for us to, just constantly, be in a state of bliss. But, I think for me, that comes down to a question of free will and what are we doing here? And if there is a greater purpose to whatever we're doing here and serving God, then it makes
Mm-hmm.
sense that we would have a free will, and we would be, we would be able to, commit evil, but not that is something from God or, of God that he points to and would consider good and what he wants us to do.
Yeah, sure. So my contention with this, when we get into stuff like free will, I don't believe that a God who is all-knowing, all-seeing, all-powerful free will wouldn't exist in a world with that God, right? Because what we're saying is this is a God who has, at the dawn of time, predetermined everything that would happen, because he pre-saw all courses of action. And because he's all-knowing, he pre-saw exactly what would happen every time. So me and you are on a predestined path, and no decision we make can break from that predestined path. I don't consider that free will. I think it's an illusion of free will. We think we have a choice, but our choices were determined for us thousands of years, millions of years before we were created, I mean, the other issue with this is you had mentioned you don't think God necessarily made evil and whatnot. I would say he explicitly says he does in the Bible. He says, I created all things, the good and the evil. We know that, like, for instance, Adam and Eve had no knowledge of what evil or what really bad things were, right? Because they hadn't eaten from the tree that had the knowledge of that there. So I would say that he definitely is the one who created evil and put it into the world. And if he wanted a world in which, at least I believe, because he's all powerful, he could have created a world in which the rules of the universe made it so that we had free will, but we didn't have to deal with unnecessary suffering, or like in a sense like that. And I think because he didn't do that, he would be an evil being.
I think I understand what you're saying, and I feel like that assumes that we know why we're here or what we're doing or what he wants for us, when it's all said and done. So like we don't really have any understanding and can't really have any understanding of that. And so the way I look at it is just more of like the fact that we are here, these things, do exist in the world, and that there is a rationality for it. And to just say that, because God is all knowing and he would do these things, if he were, all good and all knowing, I think that has an assumption that we know, why we're here and what his plan is for us. And
yeah, sure. So my issue with that is when we talk about God's will, like you're saying, like we don't understand what God's will is, sure, but we know that God has a will. And per the Bible, everything that happens is in accordance with God's will. Nothing happens that God doesn't want to happen, right? So if everything that happens is according to God's will, how can we really have free choice? How can we really have free will? I can't do an action that goes against the will of God. And he knows exactly what action I'm going to do. God essentially, at the dawn of time, at the beginning of the creation of the world, or at the beginning of the creation of time, right? When God created time, at that moment, he basically watched a movie, right? He watched a movie of all of time all at once. Now imagine you sit down and you watch, I don't know, pick a movie, Forrest Gump. Like imagine you sit down and you watch Forrest Gump. Every time you watch that movie, Forrest will always run. Forrest can't make another choice. That movie, what Forrest's actions in that movie are they're predetermined. Forrest has an illusion of choice when you're watching the movie, right? But like God has seen the movie, and if he hits rewind and watches it again, we will always make the same choices. Now, I do believe if you were to tell me like, hey, God is all seeing, but he is not all knowing. He sees all the choices we can make, but doesn't know which one we are going to make. Totally different scenario here. I would actually say free will exists under this God, because he gets surprised by us all the time, but God isn't surprised, and God is all powerful, so he has to be all knowing.
Yeah, I think it's a third scenario where, where basically, God is all seeing and all knowing, as far as he knows everything that is, and he knows all of the outcomes that could be, but there's still the free will aspect where we could go one way or another. And I don't think that life is necessarily a movie that you could replay, right? And it's not like like
we can't, but God can. Well, but that's what I'm saying. That's going to be the difference. If he is all knowing, that means he does know which path we're going to take with 100% certainty. And he knew which path we were going to take with 100% certainty well before we took the path, right? So that means there can't be, the free will is just an illusion, right? Because let's say I drop my Apple Pencil right now onto the floor. God knew I was going to drop this Apple Pencil thousands of years ago. No decision I make is going to wind up with me not dropping that Apple Pencil. I will drop it 100% of the time. That's not free will. I can't make a choice that God doesn't know. I can't make a choice that God didn't know thousands of years before I was born. All my choices, God saw them all and knew exactly which one I would make. This is again why I like to liken it to a movie. And you can even take it a step further. God directed the movie. Because when God created the world, he knew exactly what actions would partake in the world. So he could have created the world and made things slightly different. He could have done that, but he didn't, because he wanted it. He wants, per his will, everything to wind up the way it does. Now, whether we want to say like at the end of it all, that's going to be good or bad is a different conversation. But we do know that we're all, if the Christian God is real, we are all following in his predetermined plan. We cannot break from that plan. And in fact, no being can break from that plan.
Yeah, I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense. It's something I want to take away and do some research from on this, because I can definitely see how, if you're saying that, God knows all, he's all knowing, but we have free will, like, how does that leave room for the devil to, persuade you to commit evil, right? It does seem like there's kind of a conflict there.
Well, and then you gotta take it a step further, Dwayne. You have to take it a step further, because who created the devil? If God didn't want the devil to be able to influence us, he just didn't have to create him, right? Because we see in the Bible, at least, we see God be, I won't say mournful, but we see him get kind of ticked off with things that humans do. I mean, he regrets making humans so much that he floods the earth to get rid of them. But he knew at the dawn of creation that we were going to do the things to piss him off. So, like, if you're all powerful and you're going to get so mad at the things you create that you're going to wipe them out, why not just set it up so that they don't do those things in the first place? And the evil thing, God could do that without affecting our free will. He could stop us from committing evil without affecting free will by just showing up and saying, hey guys, it's me, God. If you do evil, I send you to hell. If I saw God appear in the sky and it was legitimately God, and he told me, if you do X, Y, and Z, I'm sending you to hell for all eternity, I probably wouldn't do X, Y, and Z. That's still my choice. I could make the choice to do it. But like, he slightly threatens us, but doesn't prove the threat. So just, in my opinion, just seems contradictory.
I definitely see what you mean. I guess one thing that doesn't quite resonate is that the fact that, just because he's all-seeing and all-knowing means that, we don't have free will. I mean, it doesn't seem contradictory in my mind that he could know everything but still give us space to play out things in a way to make the right choices that would basically qualify us for, whatever is beyond this.
Let me give you a different analogy. And see what you think. Does an NPC in Grand Theft Auto have free will? They're making decisions that are randomized. They're making decisions like NPCs in a game I wouldn't even go Grand Theft Auto. Look at NPCs in a game like Red Dead, which is like a generation above. They're making randomized choices, but me and you both know that those choices come from a list of predetermined things that they can do, right? I would say if God has seen all of our choices, we're just picking from a list. And he knows, based on the parameters, exactly which one of that list we're picking from.
So the way I see that kind of analogy, in good faith trying to find, an understanding is, we would be more like the players, where the game developers are all-seeing and all-knowing for the game, but we still come in and are able to make certain decisions in the game.
This, I would agree with you if it was the case that we could make decisions God can't account for, or that God doesn't see happening. Because, right, I can do something in a game that devs did not plan for. That's how we break boundaries, and that's how, that's speed running, right? Is most of the time speed running is doing things in a game that the game devs never accounted for. But we can't do any of that under God.
Well, even if you took out speed running and any kind of hacks and you just played the game how the developers intended, there is still kind of, a near infinite, number of things that you could do in the game and choices that you could make that are still within the framework of what, quote unquote, God set up. And, again, the goal being to play the game properly. If you play the game properly, you're able to, ascend. And if you don't, you descend.
I understand what you're saying, and I get it, but I would say as long as the devs can't know for certain what you're going to do, it's going to be different, right? Like, I agree with you. There is a near infinite amount of choices you can make when playing a video game, right? Just like there's a near infinite amount of choices that we make all throughout our lives. But infinite as a concept is not something God worries about, right? Infinite doesn't exist to God because he's an all-powerful being. He knows exactly what you're going to do. So he knows every choice you make. And I just feel like if you are, the movie thing is really my best example. Like, if you know for a fact that at the end of Toy Story, Woody and Buzz are always going to be reunited with Andy, do they have a choice when they're doing that? Like, do they have when you're watching that movie, do those characters have a choice? They just have an illusion of the choice. We're like a movie to God. He's just watching us. He's watching something play out, and it will always play out the same way.
Yeah, but he would still have the ability to set up a constrained environment where we do have free choice. Because if there is free choice and he knows all possible decisions, but he still leaves it up to us, for whatever his plan is, to be able to navigate those decisions, in essence, proving ourselves, then I don't see how that conflicts with the idea of him being all seeing, all knowing, and us still having free will.
Because again, is it free will? Like, let's pretend you have a time machine, right? Like, pretend you have a time machine and you can go back in time to this morning. You could theoretically choose to eat a different breakfast, right? Like, if you ate Frosted Flakes, you could go back in time and instead eat toast, right? Now, God can essentially view time differently than we view time. So God can view past and present whenever he wants. Can we ever make a different choice under God? Under God's view of time? We can't. We will always choose Frosted Flakes. Even if God goes and looks back again and says, well, I'm going to go look back at this morning, or I'm going to look forward, and then I'm going to look forward again like a week later. We're still always going to choose the Frosted Flakes. We're never choosing anything different. We don't have the ability to. That's why I say it's more of an illusion of choice, right? We never have the ability to make a choice separate of what God sees and wants, because it's all to his will. No one can make a choice that God does not want them to do.
Yeah, but that assumes a linearity to time, and that, we understand how that whole, space is,
well,
designed
for us, time is linear. So every time God has shown, because God doesn't stop being all seeing just because he materializes on earth, right? When God shows up to Moses as the burning bush, right? God still has his power to all see, all know. So for that time while he's sitting in one spot in our linear timeline, he sees our timeline as linear.
Yeah, but we're talking about 4 dimensions, and I mean, in theory, there could be 5. But again, we're getting into
possibly
things where we.
But what I'm saying is, if he materializes in our time, right, at a fixed point in our time, that creates a linear branch for his seeing and his knowing.
But all of this is in a space where we're just kind of like theorizing, and it's not necessarily based on what we're experiencing.
Sure,
here,
if you want to,
in the same way that you say that, they could say that in theory there could be multiple dimensions with multiple timelines in our
possibly.
But again, that's just.
If you want to instead look at the actions God takes or things like that, as opposed to looking at the philosophy behind his power to look at whether he's evil, or I could even take, well, it depends. I know that you said that when it comes to the Bible, you're more focused on the word of God and whatnot. But do you believe in the story of Moses? Do you believe that was a thing that happened?
Yes.
Okay. So then let's analyze this. If we have free will, why did God remove Pharaoh's free will and then punish all of the people of Egypt for that?
Can you do you have a little bit more information on how he removed the Pharaoh's free will?
Absolutely. When God shows up to Moses as the bush, he specifically says to Moses, "You're going to go to Pharaoh. You're going to ask him to free your people. I'm going to harden his heart so that he says no, and then we're going to do the plagues." So the subtext to this is God saying, when God says, "I'm going to harden his heart," so that he tells you no, if the Pharaoh's heart was already hardened and the Pharaoh was already going to say no, God would have no need to do this. God is only hardening his heart so that no becomes the answer. So after Pharaoh then says no, God then does the plagues, one of which is killing all of the firstborn children in Egypt. It seems complete opposite of good, in my opinion, to force someone into a decision and then punish everyone around that person for that decision you forced them into. And if you'd like the specific verse, I can pull it up for you.
No, that makes sense. When I think about those kind of stories in the Bible, I try to understand, what it could mean in like a practical sense, because a lot of times, it's consolidated into a story and they're not exactly going to, go into kind of breaking things down in a more detailed way. But, when I see things like that, I think that they are true stories that illustrate, a fact of kind of how things will play out, given certain circumstances. And that reflects God's nature because, the world, we're made in the image of God. And so if you're following God and you're following his way, Moses, was one of the few people who was considered walking with God. It would make sense to me that he was aligned with the world and God in a way that would basically, I don't know the right word for it, but, these kind of things, would happen, so if you have somebody like a Pharaoh in a position of power that's committing a lot of evil, and, you have certain people following him, I think there's a difference between evil and sin, right? And, a lot of punishment that happens to people is a result of sin, which, is, often led astray by evil. But I think that in those situations, what I see is a pattern of being in the world and cause and effect that reflects God's nature. And if you are walking with God, then you are going to naturally kind of be able to affect those things more because you just have that alignment.
But here's my issue with this. One, we kind of have to take the Bible at its word for what it says God says, right? So like specifically in Exodus, we have direct quotes of what God said to Moses when he appeared to Moses and told Moses to let his people go. So these are direct quotes. Now we can say they're mistranslated and all that. Then I get into like, well, what in the Bible do we actually believe? Like at that point, if we're not going to take the Bible at its face, if we're going to say like, hey, people misinterpret the Bible and retranslate it into different ways, which I agree does happen. But if that's the case, then we really can't use the Bible for any sort of claim at all, right? So if we're taking the Bible's claim at its face, the Bible, and this is Exodus, Exodus 4, verse 21. When God is talking to Moses, he says, and I quote, when you return to Egypt, see that you perform before Pharaoh all the wonders I have given you the power to do. So he's saying, I'm going to give you power. I'm going to give you godlike power. You're going to perform these godlike power things to the Pharaoh to prove yourself. This will prove to the Pharaoh that you and I have spoken and that I have given you power as prophet, right? He then says, and I quote, but I will harden his heart so that he will not let the people go. So first of all, he's sending Moses on a completely pointless task. He's then hardening the Pharaoh's heart. Like there is no other way to interpret this except for when he says so that he will not let people go, there's no way to interpret this to say except for had he not done that, Pharaoh would have let Moses and the people go. He would have believed Moses because the Pharaoh and Moses had a close relationship, and he would have let Moses and his people go. And then my bigger issue from here is now that God has done this, he then is going to kill a bunch of innocent children because of an action he did. So my issue with my overall issue with that is how are we like, why would I worship or believe that a being that does this is a good being?
Yeah, I think that's fair. So my interpretation of that, like, I don't believe that God like reaches into time and space and affects things, like he would, like consciously, harden his heart, right? I think in that story, what I see is that, God is communicating to Moses through the way that he communicates to everybody, which, I understand as your conscience, the ego being more associated with the devil. So what I read that story interpreted as is, these are truths that God, through Moses's conscience are being revealed to him, right? So, I've given you these powers, right? He has these powers because God, being a representation of the values and what is right in the world, being that Moses is so aligned with God, he is able to receive that divine revelation through conscience and understand that in this moment in time, given these circumstances, God is going to harden the Pharaoh's heart. And it's my responsibility to go to this place and bring this power that's been bestowed upon me by God. And then there's the question of all the kids being destroyed, killed, which I think is a tragedy. And we have a lot of those situations in the Bible that I certainly don't know how to think about them. And it's definitely one of the things that does make me stop and pause and wonder, like, why? But until I can have, like, some type of answer, is in the negative, like, I don't know. I don't see that as disqualifying, but I do see it as a tragedy. And I understand why it makes a lot of people, not want to believe that this could be true.
Well, so I do disagree when it comes to God. I don't disagree that God gave Moses revelations, but I think there's a difference between God giving Moses revelations so that Moses can, like, see the divine and Moses can have all of these. And I think there's a difference between that and between him legitimately saying, I did X, right? Like, if he says, I did this thing, and God doesn't lie, God, what's one of the, I believe he lies all the time, but one of the things about God per the Christian text is that God tells only truths. Like, truth is essential to his being. If God doesn't lie and he says, I will harden his heart so that he will not let the people go, I'm going to take that on face value. I'm going to believe that that's what God is saying, right? Because truth is in his nature. So then if this is the case, I believe, which I believe he does all the time, punishes innocents for things they did not do or things that he did. He does this a bunch. So
I don't think that, obviously we don't have any evidence that, God actually, reaches into the world and does things. But we do have direct, when he showed up to Moses as the burning bush, he reached into the world and set a bush on fire. So I believe that God is reflected in, everything in the world, but he's not here. Right. And so when I hear that God did something, whether he talked to Moses in the burning bush or he hardened the Pharaoh's heart, what I'm hearing is that the natural order that reflects him, did those things, so he did those things, right? Because nature reflects that. And so, yeah, I mean, that's my interpretation.
But he still did it. That's the thing, is he still is punishing Pharaoh for something he did. He's punishing all of Egypt for something he did.
yes, and so, for me, when I'm trying to reconcile that, which, something like this, I definitely can't say that I have fully reconciled it. But my current understanding is that, that there is a right way to be in the world, and that there's a wrong way to be in the world. And that's, that's defined by what sin is. And so, when, for example, a civilization like the Pharaohs, goes too far in committing sin, there are a lot of consequences, and people who didn't necessarily even partake in that sin, certainly could be hurt by the fallout of that. So,
But
yeah,
but again, God created the sin. God creates sin. There's nothing that exists that, by the way, and this brings me back to our original point. There's nothing that exists in this universe that God did not create, and there's nothing that happens in this universe that God does not will. So,
right, but there would be nothing to experience, and there'd be no reason to be here if we didn't have free will. And so, with that free will, He's given us space to actually, exercise that. And there are consequences where, there's tragedy and suffering, and
but
I
again,
definitely agree with what you said about.
He's willing to turn off our free will and punish us anyway if we do something. If that's a cruel God. If you say you have free will.
Saying.
You have free will to make the right choices, but I will shut off your free will and then punish you for making the wrong choice. I don't think that's a good thing.
Well, I think that the story of Moses, that did reflect free will, and Moses was somebody who was, walking with God, and the Pharaoh arguably was exercising his free will in a way that was very sinful. And so Moses, being somebody who was walking with God and aligned with His will, acting in that way, basically, that's what God did, right? So, yeah.
The only problem I have with this is we have no idea what Pharaoh would have done had God not interfered. We don't know. We genuinely don't know. Had God not hardened Pharaoh's heart, what choice Pharaoh would have made.
So for me, that sounds similar to saying like if you, this is an extreme version of it, but like, if you, no, that's not a good way. No, I don't have a good example to counter that. Yeah, nah, sorry, I don't know.
All right. Well, we've been chatting for about 30 minutes, so I'm going to move on to another caller. But Dwayne, thank you for calling in, and thank you for chatting.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
Have a good one. Oh, look at that. We don't have any callers. It looks like all the conservatives are scared. That's no problem. No more callers. That means big dubs. That means I win, bro. Let me drive the boat. Let me drive the boat. Baby. Baby. Just a reminder, we are going to play debate bingo on Twitch when we're done with like calls. Winner gets a prize. We don't know what prize yet. The winners get to pick their prize as long as they are within reason. As long as they're within reason, winners get to pick the prize. I have been watching YouTube chat filled with a bunch of people who literally don't know how logical fallacies work. And it's been hilarious. My favorite is when I watch someone decry straw man when no one's straw manning. Or when I want, like, it's so funny to me. Did the Discord link get fixed? I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. Can my prize be a nipple pick is the craziest thing I've ever seen. No. What? That's a crazy thing to ask. I've just been letting retro 90s TV play in the background, and I've been kind of been vibing to it. It's the wave, I think. If you win bingo, you can request I play Silk Song. And I would have to. Well, sometimes I go out by myself. Our prize be a stream of you beating the entirety of Skate 2 with no glitches, including Can You Spell Girl? No. You can request I play it on stream, but it's not going to be play the entirety of this in one sitting and 3 sittings. And do you not want to play Silk Song? It's just not on my list. Is someone in chat just repeating the word syllogism over and over again? Such a debate bro thing. And don't get me wrong, I've used syllogisms, but I usually only resort to like syllogisms when like the person just seriously can't track a conversation. How to join Discord, link isn't working for me. Let me post a link in YouTube chat. In order to gain access to the Discord, you must be a YouTube member or a Twitch sub. Here's the link. Yeah, so I was doxxed and server rated this year, so I closed my Discord from being open and stuff.
Thank you, boo.
So I just don't think syllogisms are like necessary in like conversation. I mean, they can be really good for like the beginning of like formal debates, just to like really knock out a claim. But I don't necessarily see the point of them in most conversation. What's the difference between slippery slope and reductio ad absurdum? So a reductio ad absurdum is just taking something to its logical extreme and seeing if that extreme leads to absurdity. A slippery slope is when you're saying X will lead to Y, so therefore we shouldn't do X, but you have to demonstrate that slope. You have to demonstrate how X can lead to Y. So what's a good example of this? If somebody is to tell me gender and sex is the same, right? If they say, Jovan, gender and sex is the same, they're synonymous. A way I would test this reductio is I would say, okay, is a dog a woman? Is a female dog a woman? Right? I'm just testing their logic. I want to see if gender and sex are always the same or if they don't hold this. Now, if I were to say, well, you believe gender and sex is the same, if we operate under that, then all animals should have rights. That could be a slippery slope, because now I'm saying if we operate in the world under X, now slippery slopes aren't always bad. If you can demonstrate the slope, that's not an issue, right? If you can actually demonstrate the slope, then it's fine. So that's how I would differentiate between those two things. Like you could say, like if somebody says to me, if I go, hey, I want to decriminalize all drugs, and they say, hey, I think decriminalizing all drugs will lead to down the slope here. And they can demonstrate a causal link. That's a I don't even know that we'd call that a slippery slope. I may just call it a slope. You know? Huh. Now, didn't I talk to this caller recently? Am I high? I'm pretty sure the person that's calling right now, I'm pretty sure I talked to them like, wait a minute.
Play there.
If I did, I don't remember when it was. I guess we'll just bring them up and see what, oh, they hung up. Never mind. Okay. I was pretty sure I talked to them already. I here to speak facts. Here? Here? Here is spelled Here, friend. Not Hear. I don't. Big yikes. I don't know if you know that. Jesus is on the Epstein files. Well, yeah, why was Jesus found in the Garden of Gethsemane with a naked boy? A naked boy was arrested with Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. Why? Play Celeste on stream? Maybe. Chatteroony. Chatteruno? Possibly. There are a couple people that are being screened right now, and then we'll see. I had to get 3 new tires for my car. So that's fun. You're a grown man wearing cat ears. Who gives a fuck, dog? Does it affect you? Does it change your life? Cass? Does it affect you? I'm so sorry. Did that twiggle you? Oh, poor baby. Who gives a fuck, bro? Who cares? I sure don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. My little dumb man, bitch, I ain't giving a fuck. Do you have a place that donate that takes a lesser cut of the pay? Cash App or Venmo? Right on screen. Cash App or Venmo. I get everything. Why do libtards feel so tough behind their computer screen? Like you, Steve? Oh my god. You and your anonymous YouTube page? Oh, poor baby. Oh, you twiggled? Are you twiggled, Steve? Oh. Poor little Steve. Bro, please. I love watching children crash out in the YouTube chat. Oh, this one looks interesting. Okay, we're going to bring up caller number 4. We're going to bring up caller number 4 to talk. Hello, are you here to debate?
Hello.
Hello?
You there?
Yep.
You hear me?
Yep.
All right. Hey, how you doing, man?
Chillin', are you here to debate?
Yes. I want to know your view on why you think God is evil.
Sure. First, can I get your name, age, and pronouns, please?
I go by the messenger, and my age is 40, and pronouns are he and him.
Okay, you said you want to know why I think God is evil? Because he's done evil things.
Yes.
Like killing a whole bunch of
How has
kids.
he done evil things?
He killed a whole bunch of kids for to punish them for something somebody else did. I think that's pretty evil.
Do you really think God would do that to his children that he loves with all of his heart? Do you really think
He did.
evil things are done?
Wait, he
evil
did.
things are done by evil people,
Messenger.
not by.
Messenger. He did do that. It's not. Do I think he would do that? He did do that. He does that in Exodus.
So you're basically saying that it is okay for us not to have free choice in what we do?
No.
Everything we do.
No.
Everything
Sorry. Slight correction,
is
Messenger.
not directed by God.
Sorry. Slight correction. The thing that he punished them for is something he specifically did. Like God did something.
How's that?
And then, sure, God, we just talked about this. This is crazy. God tells Moses to go to the Pharaoh and ask the Pharaoh to set his people free. God says, I'm going to harden the Pharaoh's heart so that he won't set them free. And then God kills all the firstborn children in Egypt for it.
Yeah, because they disobeyed the Father and the Creator of all things.
God
They didn't
hardened
listen to him.
Pharaoh's heart so that Pharaoh would not let Moses' people go. God did an action and then punished kids for that action.
The only way God had any chance to reconcile with Pharaoh.
I'm sorry,
The
God
thing is
this all power.
no evil was done there.
Messenger. Pharaoh would have let the people go had God not hardened Pharaoh's heart.
That is not true.
I'll read the passage for you.
That's not true.
I'll read the passage for you.
Did you?
But
Okay.
I will harden his heart so that he will not let the people go. He hardened his heart.
He had to do that
Why?
because there was no other way to get through to Pharaoh.
The all-powerful God could not find another way to get through to the Pharaoh. This God that's supposedly all-powerful, the only way he could get through to the Pharaoh was by forcing the Pharaoh to make a decision that went against what Pharaoh's heart was telling him, and then kill all of the firstborn children in Egypt because he forced Pharaoh to make a decision.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, the reason is because the Pharaoh had no other option. He didn't.
Pharaoh would have let them go had God not hardened his heart.
Absolutely not. He wouldn't.
So
Absolutely
that
not.
he will not let them go. So that he will not. If I told you I'm going to pour water into my cup so that it does not hit the floor. Does this mean that if I don't pour the water in the cup, it's going to hit the floor?
I don't understand what you're saying. What?
Okay. If I were to tell you, Messenger, I'm going to pour water in a cup so that it does not hit the floor, what does that mean will happen if I don't pour the water in the cup?
It's not going to hit the floor.
Okay, so when God says, I'm going to harden Pharaoh's heart so that he will not let them go, what does that mean would happen if God didn't harden Pharaoh's heart?
Pharaoh quit believing in the Creator. The Creator.
Hey, that's not the question I asked you. It's not the question I asked you. We'll start from the beginning.
No, I don't care.
We'll start from the beginning. We'll start from the beginning. If I say I'm going to pour water in a cup so that it does not hit the floor, what will happen if I don't pour that water into that cup?
It's not going to hit the floor, and that's a horrible analogy.
Now, if I were to say I'm going to harden someone's heart so that they won't let people go, what would happen if I did not harden the heart?
And you're going off of basically that one.
And this is why chat, I think most Christians are like functionally illiterate.
You can actually rationalize why God did what he did.
I don't think there's any rational reason to kill a bunch of children because of an action that you did. I don't think there's a functionally rational reason for God, an all-powerful being who can do anything, to kill a bunch of kids as punishment for him forcing Pharaoh to make a decision. He's not even punishing Pharaoh. He's punishing a bunch of innocent children.
Yeah, well, that's your take and your view on it.
That's not my take. That's the Bible's take.
Hurt the children.
It's not my take.
No, he's not.
It is the Bible's take.
It's not that he's wanting to do any evil. He's wanting to see the faith of each and every person. Those who do not put the lamb's blood across their door was not in faith with God and believe God. But those who did put the blood on their door, their children were not harmed. Would the
lamb's blood have needed to go on the door?
So no.
Messenger. You're crashing out, dog. For no reason. Would the lamb's blood have needed to go on the door had Pharaoh let the Israel people go?
Yes. Yeah,
no, it
the lamb's blood had to go because God needed to see who was faithful.
No, the lamb's blood was one of the plagues. The lamb's blood was one of the plagues. It was a punishment against the Egyptian people.
We shouldn't even be talking about that. That has nothing to do with what it is today. Today, it is different. That was when God's wrath.
God is never changing. Per the Bible, God never changes. Per the Bible, God never changes. So if God was wrathful in the Old Testament, he is wrathful. No, he doesn't.
Because let me explain this to you, and then shut the fuck up.
No.
Okay.
Unfortunately, no.
Let me explain.
Because God says in Malachi 3:6, "I, the Lord, do not change."
He doesn't change when it comes to love, grace, and mercy.
Okay, so God lied then.
He doesn't change. No, he did not lie.
Yes,
he gave us free will to choose him and did not choose him. If we don't choose him, then we are going to the eternal pit. If we do choose him, which now it is different, we don't have to choose God. We don't have to choose the Creator. Okay? The only person we need to choose and believe in is Jesus Christ. Because this is what happened. When Jesus died, he didn't go to heaven.
Numbers 23:19.
He went to hell.
What is Numbers? What does Numbers 23:19?
The devil knows the Bible to the T.
What does Numbers 23:19 say?
Doesn't matter.
No, I guess I'll tell you. God is not a human. God is not a human that he should lie. Not a human being that he should change his mind. So if I were to say to you, Messenger, I never drink water. What does that mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That means you're stupid and you need to actually hydrate.
Great. Now, if I say to you, I never drink water, and then 3 seconds later, I'm chugging a Dasani, did I lie to you?
Absolutely.
So if God says I never change my mind, and I never change, and then later changes, did God lie?
See, you're still looking at it wrong, man.
Am I looking at it wrong, or are you unable to think critically about your own religion?
Can I get 3 or 4 words out before you start talking?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. God used his wrath.
Okay, that was 5 words. Yeah, this is.
Let me talk, please.
No, because you're being functionally stupid, my guy.
No, I'm not stupid. I just know about Christ, and I know how to follow Christ,
You don't
and
know.
I have my struggles with Christ.
You don't know anything
but
about the Bible.
I love him. I love him. Huh?
You know nothing about the Bible.
Oh, I know nothing about the Bible. Okay.
Correct.
How about you read this to yourself? It's Psalms 51. Have mercy on me, O God, because of your unfailing love, because of your great compassion. Blot out the stain of my sins. Wash me clean from my guilt. Purify me from my sins so I may be free. Cleanse me and I will be whiter than snow. Oh, give me back my joy again. You have broken me. Now let me rejoice.
Being able to quote a passage and knowing the Bible are two different things.
I can quote the whole chapter, man.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just.
You know what? I've studied the Bible, and I have seen
No, you haven't.
Christ at work.
You have never studied the Bible.
I would be dead. I would be dead if it wasn't for God. If it wasn't for his mercy and his love and for everything that I did, I don't deserve to go to heaven. But the only reason I get to go to heaven is because Jesus died for my sins.
You know who also doesn't deserve to be in heaven?
You can read the Old Testament.
Do you know who else doesn't deserve to be in heaven?
All you want. That's the wrath of God. But when you read the New Testament in Matthew, Jesus says, anyone in Romans 10:13, if anyone believes in me, Jesus Christ shall be saved. So if you do not believe in just that simple thing, then you're just completely wrong. You are wrong. You have no grasp on what is actually supposed to be salvation.
So God changed his mind.
What?
God changed his mind.
God never changes his mind.
So then God is still wrathful.
Never. No, he's not wrathful.
Then he changed his mind.
God does have God.
Was God wrathful at one point? Was God wrathful at one point?
Yes.
Is he no longer wrathful?
He still has his wrath, but he doesn't let it rule over us. Jesus
Then he changed.
Christ is the one who rules over us.
Then he changed. And according to the Bible, according to his work,
he gave us
according to what he says, he never changes.
Yes, he changed. No, you're right. You're right.
Then God lied.
You're right. He changed.
Okay, so then God lied.
You're right.
God lied. God's a liar.
He doesn't want us to have a sinful future.
God
so that's why
is a liar sometimes.
God is not a liar.
You just said he changed. You just said he changed. You just admitted that he changed, yet in the Bible he says he never changes. So God is a liar
saw that
sometimes.
we couldn't do it on our own. He saw that we couldn't do it on our own. And,
so he lied.
And so he sent Jesus Christ. So Jesus Christ could do it. Jesus Christ, like I said, did not go to heaven as he died. He went to hell. And he went down there to take over darkness and get the keys to the gate of hell. That is what he did for us. He went down and got the keys to the hell.
I think it's pretty fucked up that God sent his only son to hell. It's kind of fucked up.
He held that key.
Chad, do we think it's kind of fucked up that God sent his only son to hell? I think it's kind of fucked up.
He sent his son to hell. He couldn't look at his sin. When he was on the cross, he was in sin. Because
hey, Jesus, you're my son, and I love you like I love everybody else. But I don't want to ever. So God is an absent father? God sent his kid to live with a step-parent?
He's not an absent father.
Yeah, he sent his kid to go live with his cousin. He said, go live with your cousin in hell. Get out. I don't want to see you. God's an absent father. He went out to get milk and he never came back.
No. You're misunderstanding me. He went to hell to take over the devil's domain. He went down and the demons and the devil trembled at his presence.
The devil could take Jesus in a fight.
He went through hell and he owned every bit of it. And he got the keys to the gate of hell. And he actually came back to earth and he gave us the word that, yes, I am the Lord and Savior. You believe in me. I will take you to eternal life. He showed that to his prophets. He showed that to people. Did you know when he was walking down the road with his prophets, no one recognized him at first because they had just met this guy on the road and they did not know exactly who he was, but you didn't look like Jesus at the time. But
And
they
then Jesus
talked and
lied to
talked
them
and
about who
talked.
he was?
What?
And then Jesus lied to them about who he really was?
No, Jesus never lied. Jesus led a perfect life so that we
No, he
didn't
didn't.
have to.
Is it a perfect life if you
Yes, he
succumb to
did.
anger? Is succumbing to your anger and lashing out in anger perfection?
Nah, we all have that fault. We all have
So,
that fault.
wait.
But Jesus
Can
never
perfect-
had that fault. Just
Jesus
like Charlie
never-
Kirk never
I'm
had
sorry,
that fault.
Jesus never lashed out in anger? So when he
No,
went into the
he
temple
never
and
did.
started flipping tables, that wasn't Jesus lashing out? That wasn't Jesus being a petulant child?
No,
What would you call? What
That
would you
wasn't
if I
Jesus
went into
being
your
petulant.
if
That
I went
was-
into your store and started flipping your tables full of your products? What would you say I was doing?
well, do you belong there in the first place?
Okay, so not only is God a liar, you're a liar as well.
No, not at all.
You
Not at all.
think that
God is
Jesus?
not a liar.
Wait.
The
Was
thing
Jesus?
is they didn't
was
belong there.
yes, and Jesus was
Merchants
mad
and
about
people
that.
tell them they're good. They're
Jesus
not
was
belonging in the temple.
mad. Jesus was mad that they were there because they didn't belong there. So he lashed out in anger. He threw tables and yelled and screamed that they weren't allowed to be there. That is lashing out. Doesn't seem like he's perfect, and especially it's hilarious for you to say Charlie Kirk was a perfect being. That's fucking the funniest thing I've heard all fucking day.
Charlie Kirk was a follower of Christ, and he was a good man. Nothing that he said was wrong.
Yeah, wow. Nothing Kirk said was wrong. Do you want to bet? Play
he said
how
was
much?
wrong. You just thought it was
Messenger,
bad because
Messenger.
you don't like the
No,
truth.
Messenger. Nothing he said was wrong. How much money would you like to put on this? Because I'm willing to put money on this.
I'll put $70,000 on it because I
You'll
got
put
it.
$70,000. So just confirming, I want to hear a 100% confirmation from you. You are agreeing to a verbal bet with me of $70,000 that Charlie Kirk never said anything wrong.
Never ever did he say anything wrong.
When
He
you
only
say
spoke the truth.
now hold on. I'm about to substantiate that Kirk said factually incorrect things. And when I do, you're going to send me $70,000.
I ain't saying you shit, liberal.
Okay, so you like I said are a liar because you just went back on a bet that you said you would do.
Why would I send $70,000?
You just agreed to the bet and now you're weaseling out of the bet because you're scared because you know that you're wrong. So we can make the bet
No,
lower.
I just don't
How
wanna
about
waste my money on
$10?
you.
How about a $10 bet? How about we put $10, okay, on the fact that Charlie Kirk did in fact say incorrect, false, misleading, or misinformed statements?
He never did.
So
He
are you
told the
willing to
truth.
bet
Nobody liked
are
it.
you willing to bet $10
How about we
on it?
raise it to 20?
Great,
How
no
about we raise
problem.
it to 20?
20, you're 100% agreeing to a $20 bet right now.
Correct.
Great, beautiful. Charlie Kirk said time and time again, multiple times, that black people were better off financially in the 40s and 50s. This was an incorrect statement, but by every single financial metric, black people do better today. They have a higher percentage of property ownership, they have higher wealth, they have higher income, they have more money in savings, they have more real wages, and they have higher spending power now than they did in the 40s and 50s. This would be an incorrect statement, Charlie Kirk said. Please send me my $20. The Cash App and Venmo is on the screen.
What's your what's your point? You have no point.
Please send me my $20. The Cash App and Venmo is on the screen.
You have no point.
Please send me my $20. You agreed to this bet. Cash App and Venmo are on the screen.
You don't
I'll
know
give you
who
my
I
PayPal
am,
if you want
so how am I supposed to send you $20?
My Cash App and my Venmo are on the screen. Use it and send me my $20.
I'm not sending you nothing, man, because you're a fake.
Because
You're
just like God, you are also a liar. You made a bet that you knew you were not going to honor, breaking one of the cardinal sins, thou shalt not lie. You purposely lied.
No, it's not that. It's
You
I
purposely
didn't lie
lied.
to you. I just don't think
You
you
purposely
deserve
lied.
it.
You purposely lied because you, just like God, are a liar.
No, I'm not.
How does it feel to be a liar, messenger? What is that like?
How does it feel to be facing eternal death?
Wonderful if I never have to see the God that kills innocent children. I'll take all the fire and brimstone imaginable if I don't have to go sit at the feet of the man who kills innocent children. Now, are you going to continue to be a coward today? Oh, he hung up. He hung up. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
Please leave your message for.
Oh, he didn't answer he didn't answer the call back. He didn't answer the call back. Don't play with me. Now you're pussing out, messenger. Anyway. Barriella, thank you for the $10 Venmo. Church said church money for the messenger's sermon. LOL, that's so funny. I think I won that bet. So if you guys want to support me winning the bet, Cash App and Venmo are on the screen. Do what the messenger could never do, which is live up to his fucking bets. I have a Twitter. I don't use it. So, as we just learned, God lies and does a whole lot of other shit. God lies, he cheats, he kills. We got some super chats from people. So let's go through them. Min said, messenger is too cowardly to follow through. True. Tyson said, you should have pointed out when Charlie Kirk thought a dolphin fetus was a human. True. Jazz Dog said, the messenger sent me the money. I'm the middleman. That's so funny. Jesus fulfilled no prophecy, said, crying, lying, pissing, and crewing for Christ. Amelia said, how to join your Discord link. I sent the link already for that. Tyson said, Buddhists are not emotionless. Odd take caller. And then we had the messages from Fuzzy Logic earlier. Thank you, friends. What a fun call that was. Taylor, thank you for the Venmo. Said, I feel like the messenger is going to do a sewer slide now, but you def won that bet. That's crazy. $220. Thank you so much. I got these at the store.
Messaging you a message about messaging
Fire.
messages.
They're delicious. They're aspartame free, sugar free. This is my new snacky snack. This is a healthy alternative. Do they make the big ones zero sugar? Like, low-key, what is the point of even having the sugar ones? I know they're not healthy, you know what I mean? Healthier. But what is the point of even having the sugar ones? They taste the exact same. They taste the exact same, bro. Like, it's not even... There is no difference. Oh, I just thought of a great name for that video. The messenger did not get the message. That's a good title for that video. We're gonna go do bingo now. If you're calling in, call in tomorrow for more debates. I'm gonna end debates there because I do have to be somewhere at 3. So we're gonna go. If you want to come play bingo with us on Twitch, winner does win a prize. Come over to the Twitch chat. That's where you can play bingo with us. So YouTube, thank you for being here and watching the stream. We'll be back live tomorrow, and I'll be live earlier tomorrow, so I'll be able to do more debates tomorrow. But come over to Twitch if you want to come play bingo. I'll do all the rules in a little bit over on the Twitch, so come join us for that. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for hanging out with us today. Love you guys. I mean it. Goodbye, YouTube. That was a good stream.